Hello everybody. There's nobody in just at the moment. I'll wait a couple of minutes to see if people jump in. Hello, whoever's joined, thank you for joining. Just waiting a couple of more minutes just to see if anybody jumps in. Thanks to whoever's jumped back in. I'm just waiting a couple of minutes to see who jumps in, but thank you for joining. So, hello to the two that's jumped in. Thank you for joining. Above the clouds. Thank you for joining, mate. Appreciate it. So, I might as well get started. I want to, first things first, I hope you can hear me as well. So, last week's stream went a bit tits up halfway. The second half of my stream my mic died and then my phone died, so I apologise straight away. So let's get started. I'm gonna have a drink. I've just got these. Hope you're drinking on something. It's just standard Lidl, my go-to stout. I'm a stout drinker and I love my flavoured stouts. So I'm gonna use my Bogan opening tin. Lee Much, thank you for joining, mate. Thank you for joining. So, drinking a stout, pouring a stout. Thanks for joining, guys. 4 people that's joined, thanks for joining. I'm just pouring a thingy, which looks like it's frozen. That didn't go as well as I planned, did it? Look at that pour. And it has gone absolutely everywhere. So cheers, guys. Thanks for joining. Cheers. And everybody, also to the replay crew. Like I say, every stream, if I'm not always looking at the camera, I do apologise. I am looking at 2 screens, my computer and also my TV screen, so I know what I'm doing on the guys. So what you guys doing this evening? What you vaping on? My little thingy buffet I've got is my Pulse Mini, and I've got obviously this, my topside jewel that I painted, and the Bonza Pro. I'm loving this RDA. So guys, I'm Faz. Welcome to Sub-Home Enthusiasts Retro Vape live stream. So we're gonna have a drink. We're gonna build some coils. We're gonna vape something retro, and have a chat. Obviously, reminisce everything, and see how we go. Okay, thanks for joining, guys. So if you joined my last week's stream, I did have this, the Bonza that I got for free, which had problems. The pin was broken and I got it off somebody off a Facebook group. I did get it for free. And Loki Vapes, thank you for joining. Thanks, mate. Oh, nice one. Nice one. I vape dessert flavours. Dessert flavours, should I say. Thank you, everybody that's joined. I really appreciate it, guys. So I am vaping on something dessert flavoured here, but I cannot tell you what it is, unfortunately, because the person that makes it for me wants me to keep it stum at the moment, but it is a dessert flavour. In this, I'm just vaping on some unicorn milk from Dark Star. In that's a bit stronger. Gives me that kick when I need it. So guys, people that have joined here, I've also joined Punk Rocks and Jaff Vapes, and for some reason we're on a roll for some reason with the Bonza. Now I was going to obviously give you an update on this. Thanks Punk Rock Vapor, thanks for joining, mate. So like I was just saying, Punk Rock Vapor, Jaff Vapes, for some reason we're all on the Bonza at the moment. Now I did get this last week. I did get it for free. Somebody sent it me, and the 510 pin was broken. This is what I was going to build on last week's stream. Okay, but I couldn't because it was broken. Now the guy did come through because I messaged him and he was like, he didn't know anything about it, didn't know if he was being genuine, but he said he was going to send me another one out, which he did. But Punk Rock Vapor, I want to ask you something, because when you pulled out your Bonza Pro, not Bonza Pro, what am I saying, your Blotto, I had to look twice, because mine came with the same glass that's on yours, with the strip tip. Now, you did say that it was Bearded Vikings. Do you think that's Bearded Vikings as well, or do you think that's a clone? I have no idea. But that's what originally came on my Blotto. So, Do you want to see another Blotto live, or do you want me to do something else? Comment in the comment section. Hope you've all got something to drink. Punk Rock Raper, everybody, cheers. Do you think so? Because when I watched your live and you showed your Blotto on your mech, I was like, what? I had to check mine, but it did originally come on that. So we'll see how that goes. So do you want to see another Blotto live, or do you want me to do something completely different? Because what I do is show you what I'm going to build. We're going to make some coils from scratch. So you'll see a bit what goes into it and stuff like that. So if you want to comment, do you want me to do the Bonzo, or do you want me to do something completely different? Thank you, whoever's joined. 2 people that have joined. Thank you, appreciate it. I was just telling everybody that I was going to build the Bonza, but I want to know, do you want to see another Bonza live? Bonza Blotto. Do you want to see another Blotto? It is the OG Blotto, yeah. Like you've got on your mech. But it's the same colour as yours, and it came with that glass on, which made me think, hang on a minute, I've got one exactly the same. Sean Lynch, how are you doing? Thanks for joining. Hi. I was going to do that, but I was thinking maybe a 4mm. I was going to try a 4mm just so I could probably put it on something series, my homemade series. But anyway, let's get started. Let's not thingy. So I'm working with one camera, which is my phone. So I will be moving the camera. So until I get more organised with what I'm doing, get a proper mic and everything, I will be moving the camera just so you can see me a little bit better. And I'll just show you quickly what's going on here. So I'm just going to move this over. See what I'm doing here. Just moving this down. Like that. And adjust my chair. So obviously the bonds are there. Is what I've got there. So originally when it came, so it's not in that box, it's in this box. So originally when it came, the deck was completely broken. The stem had come off the deck. That goes on there, and it were broken completely. So there was no connection there, it was useless, couldn't use it, couldn't do it on my live build stream last week. But like I say, the gentleman that I did get, I don't know if you know him, is Mark Ebsworth. And he said he'd send me another tank out because he didn't know anything about it. He did send me one out. It is a stainless steel OG Blotto. Now, Punk Rock Raper, you might like this one because you like the stainless steel. This is the OG. Now, on an impulse as well, which most of you might know, is I got a cheaper one online. It's an E6 Cloud. We're selling them off cheap. So I've got another one. So I've got spare glasses and just spares. So I might use the deck out of this one and set, and obviously have that so I can use the silver one. So I've got spare glasses. So it was the rainbow one. So I've got that just as a spare. And obviously some spare tubes and shit. But it is really thin. The deck, that thing that's attached to it is very, very thin. So let's just say the 510 on that is snug but not tight. It is chipping away. It is second hand. It's probably going to end up being silver at one time. It's very, very soon. But it's all clean and ready. But that's what I'm going to build then, if everybody is happy with me doing another blotto. So there we are. There's the deck. So even looking at the deck, most of that under deck is blocked off by the 510. Now there is holes at the top of it, so some airflow will get it. But majority of your airflow comes from your side airflow just there. But yeah, that's what we're going to do. So I thought today I'd do some staggered fuse Claptons. I've been on Aliens for a bit now. So I thought I'd do something different and do a staggered fuse Clapton. So that's where we are with that. So the guy came through. So I think he was being genuine when he said he didn't know anything about it being broken before he sent it. He just sent it. So that's that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to set up my stuff now to make some coils. What I want to do is I just want to zoom out of this. Proper appreciate everybody that's come today. So I'm going to zoom out a bit there. Got some dogs in the background. They're the real stars of the show, my little two dogs. So the way I make it, I use a little table here. I'll show you all the tools that I use. I build old school. Would I like a nice setup? Yes, I would, but I don't do it professionally. I don't make coils for a living, so, you know, I don't. So I'm using this little table here. Let me adjust that a bit so you can see a bit what I'm doing in this angle here. Unused. It's still great airflow, punk rock, still great airflow. I mean, some airflow does come through that pin, but it's a very minute, but I think the majority of it comes through that side airflow. But I'm not digging it in any way. It's still a great RTA. I love it. So this is the drill I use. It's from a Daedalus Pro. I did use this kit a lot, the Daedalus Pro, but it took the complete fun out of me making coils. So I went back to sort of like making it proper old school. Anyway, so I use this device here. This is my wire holder, holds my wires flat. This is from the Handy Coil Factory. So I'm going to put that in my chuck, just like that. Now just use a nutcracker just to seal it. Ben M, thank you for joining, mate. So I'll put it about there. So clamp it down. I just use something like this that I got from Screwfix or something. That's just to clamp my stuff down. So I'm just going to get this set up as I need it. So that's clamped down and that's made. Let's get some tools. So I'm just going to open this core. This is what's going to hold my wires completely flat. Cheers, guys. Another drink. I hope you've got something nice to drink, everybody. So that's my drill setup. So I do have a swivel. I'll show you here. It's just on a vise with a piece of wood and some ball bearing swivels on there. So that's from last week's live that I haven't done. I haven't taken off. So ball bearing swivels, use them. They're the best ones. Don't be messing around with anything other than ball bearing swivels, because then you're just going to have problems. So that's what I'm using. So the wire that I'm using is my preferred wire. which is NI80 26 gauge I use as my core from Stealth Vape. This is good wire. I'm sure there's loads of other better wire than this, but for me, yeah, it works fine. And for me stagger and my final wrap, I'm using 36 gauge. Jaff Vapes, how we doing, brother? Thanks for joining. Just making some coils. It's a bit like yours and Punk Rock's Vapor. I am building the OG Blotto. So I'm going to be making some stagger fuse Claptons on this. So I want one big piece. This is the way I'm going to do it. So I need some tools. I've got some pliers that I need and some wire cutters. So I'm going to stretch a long piece of 26 gauge. I do it in one. I don't do two separate pieces. I just straight out do one long piece and cut it in half. So what I want to do is I want to roughly measure out about 60 centimeters. So I'm just going to take it, one end of the thing, hold it tight and give it a good little tug. And then it's straight. Snip that off there. Now normally I use the button method, but I've got some clamps as well that I also got from Lidl that I think will help nicely. So I don't make coils professionally in any way. I just make them for myself and family. Now I will need some binoculars. You'll see me wearing binoculars because I am blind, and also it helps me get to see it closer to the wire. So I'm just going to set up my wire first. It's straight. I'm going to pop it in the chuck. There's a little divot in the center here. Just keep an eye on the chat. What was it? Was it Handy Coil Factory by any chance in France? So I'm going to secure this into my core. There is a little divot for it to sit straight, but before I do, so I like to give myself extra as well for the drill and my swivel. So I'm just going to put an L in there, just so I've got something to wind on the outside of this chuck. So I'm just going to lock that down. Yeah, this is where I got this core holder. It holds your cores completely flat. So if you're doing something like aliens and stagger fuse Claptons or stuff like that, it is absolutely perfect. So I'm just going to grab my swivel. You won't see my swivel, it's off camera because I've got such a long piece. But you will see how I mount stuff on my swivel later on when I'm doing the staggered part. So I'm just going to pop an L in it again, put it through my swivel. So like I say, you will see this again where my swivel part is. It's just because of the length of the wire that I'm using one piece of wire. And then I'm just going to pull my swivel out a bit just so it's nice and taut. So I'm going to secure that down, check the tension. You want a little bit of tension, but not too much tension. So I'm just going to put a tidgy bit more on that. So there we are. So like I say, there's a little bit of tension there, but not a lot. There. Let me have a vape. how do you wrap your decor on your aliens? So, Jeff, when you're doing your aliens, if you ever made a Clapton coil or anything, people have a preferred way they wrap, whether it's over the top or over the bottom. Okay? So, for me, I'm always comfortable doing it over the top. I can see it better. So, if you're comfortable doing your final wrap over the top, you do your decor wrap from underneath, like that. Or vice versa. If you prefer to wrap your stuff from underneath, your decor wrap round over the top. And it's just a matter of tension. You don't want to hold too much tension. You just want a little bit of tension just so it moves, so it's easy to slide. Now, stretching it, I can't tell you, it's all on feel. It's all on feel. That's why I said to you, practice with higher gauge wire. It's better to practice with higher gauge wire. To practice with which is what I did, and then slowly go on to small amount of wire. So what I'm going to do is I've got these clips here. Now these are from Lidl. This is a smaller one. They did come in 3 sizes, so there's a medium and a large one of this, and this is what I'm going to do just to anchor my spacing for my staggered. So I'm going to try it that way this time. So I've got my 36 gauge. So when you're doing staggered fused Claptons, you just do it the way you're comfortable. So if you wrap along the top doing your staggered, you wrap along the top doing your final wrap as well. But it's all about how you're comfortable with wrapping as well, Jeff. Everybody's different. I like the top. Some people like the bottom. All you have to do is wrap the most uncomfortable way when you're doing your decor, because then obviously when you're making your alien, you're wrapping in your preferred method of wrapping, whether it's over the top or over the bottom. So I've got a little tail just here. That's what that L was for. It's for me to wrap my 36 gauge alongside there. Where's me thingamajig? So like I say, you're going to see me use these binoculars. It just helps me see a little bit better. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to wrap that just so I can anchor that down into place. Make sure your drill is in the correct way. So all I'm going to do is I'm going to do just a few wraps, just like a normal Clapton. Then I'm going to just hold that off so I can set up my wrap wire, or my spacing wire should I say. So I'm just going to pull that a bit just to make it a little bit better for my spacing. What I'm going to do is once I'm set up, I'll bring you a bit closer so you can see what I'm doing as well. So I've just got some old Kenthal 36 gauge that I'll be using for my spacing to create my stagger. So like I say, I cannot see. So I don't need a lot of wire, just need a little bit. So let me see if I can do this. So I'm just going to bring you a bit closer. So you can see what I'm doing. Bit more closer. There we are. Sorry guys, I'm just trying to make it a little bit better. Once I get going, hopefully I think it's my camera, it is not playing ball. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to wrap this wire in between the hole there, and then I'm going to wrap around again. So I'm doing 2 wraps to create the stagger, and hopefully I have got that correct. And then I'm going to just use this clip just here to clamp it down, or just to keep it in place like so. So let me get this focused. I think you wrap from the bottom, the top, I keep messing up. So try it that way, try wrapping from the bottom, and it might help you. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to grab my wire now, and I'm just going to make sure that I've got my stagger correctly in my chuck here. So this is one reason why I use me binoculars, so I can see what I'm doing. So I haven't got that correct. So try again. I'm just backing off just ever so slightly. So that's not tight at all. So I have to reevaluate the way that I've done it. So I'm just going to pull that off. So again, I'm just going to pull and make a little stretch there. So again, I'm just going to wrap that round there, or I'm going to try without messing up the camera. So I want this piece just in between that piece there, and I want to wrap it round twice. Like that, making sure you don't snag that wire there. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to use my pliers. I'm going to grab them both and just give it a little tug. Like that. So I am messing up slightly, always does on a live stream. You guys should know about it. So I'm just going to slide that just out the way slightly, just so I can clip this down. So I'm going to get it as close as I can and bring my wire over the top here. Where have I done this? Always happens on a live stream. There we are. So I'm going to grab that again and lock that in as far up as I can and go from there. So like I say, I normally use the bottom method, but I'm not using the bottom method. I probably should be using the bottom method, but like I say, stuff does happen. So make sure your drill is in the correct position, and I'm just going to do this. And we're good. So I've got it going. So I'm going to try and get you in a bit close. There. Let's see if I can get this to focus. There we are. So as you can see, my clamp is doing its job. It is creating a space in between what I've done here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to be doing this all the way across this big piece of wire. So you will go off screen. If I get a chance to move my camera, I will move my camera. But basically that's the gist of what you need to do just there. So I'm going to do that. And then I'm just going to keep it going. So my mic should be deadening out the sound of the drill. So I won't talk too loud. But I'm just going to go all the way across this piece of wire because I'm just going to cut it in half and then use it. So I'm still got a nice spacing going on there. I know you can't see it. So I think, so I don't even think that this method is actually working on me. So have I, just let me get my thicker lens out so I can have a bit of a closer look, because I think it's jumped and I'm just doing a Clapton halfway down. So I am. So in this case, if this happens, don't worry. Just what you want to do is you just want to reverse on yourself. That's probably the good thing about doing stuff like staggered fuse Claptons and stuff, because you can do it this way. You can do it this way. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to reassess what I've got here, as this method has seemed to have messed me up. So I've gone back on myself. Let's see if that carries on doing what it's doing. And then put it in my drill in reverse. So I'm just checking to make sure that there is holes in there. So I'm keeping it tight. I'm not going to actually go too fast because it's messing up on me. So what I've done is I've just reversed off here like so. It's a live stream, so things are going to go wrong. It's inevitable. So I just want to make sure that this wire that I'm using to make my staggered part, so I'm just going to pull that off, have a look. So I'm staggered up to there. So I'm just going to pop that in between there. Again, holding this tight. And I've just taken a screenshot, so I hope that hasn't come up on my screen. So I'm just going to give that a little tug. And we'll go again. Probably my mistake was going too fast. So making sure I'm not grabbing my Clapton wire. So I'm just going to push as much as I can up to the top. Now let's start again. So what I want to do is I just want to move that back. So it's very lightly. And making sure I'm in the right direction. And no. This stream is really showing me up, isn't it? So I want to make sure they need to be in between that line. But you don't think you have a patience for us steadier? It all takes practice. I mean, if I wasn't alive on camera, Ben, I'd probably have it done in no time. But because I'm on camera, it is messing up on me. And which it is. So I'm just going to pull that off. And I know you can't actually see what I am doing because I'm off camera, but I'm trying to position my wire again. So I'm just going to reverse off a bit so I can see where my staggered bit is. So I'm going to grab my spacer wire, which I've got here. And then again, I'm going to try and get that in between. In between two, so that's why I wrap around twice. So I'm going to grab it with my tweezers and just give it a little tug. And I know you cannot see this on camera, this bit, but you probably can just right in the corner there of the screen. So again, I've got it sort of positioned where I want it. The question is it going to play ball? So I'm holding my spool not too hard. Making sure I've got my drill in the correct position. So I'm going again. So I'm not going to mess up. So I think originally I was going too fast. So this part might be the time consuming part. I have got going again. There is a gap. I think I was going too fast. So that's a bit better. Now we're cooking. So we'll go a little bit fast. But I don't want it to the point where this clamp is wobbling about on me. So I want to do it so it's light as well, so I can shift it a bit as well, keeping it at a 90-degree angle. Thanks to the 3 that are still here, guys. Thank you, I appreciate it. So I'm going to go a little bit faster as I've got a steady pace going. So like I say, this bit is the time consuming bit. So I'm going to try and go just a smidge a bit faster. You probably can't hear the drill because my mic dampens the sound out, but I will be getting a better mic soon, hopefully. So I'm going to go a bit faster, seeing as I've got some momentum going. I've still got some space in there. So when I'm doing it this way, obviously because I'm not talking, when I'm doing it this way, because I'm using a one piece, I leave a bit of space at the end for runoff. So obviously when you're wrapping it, it's gonna move slightly. Yeah, that's coming along a lot better now. So I'm making sure I'm holding my spool at a 90-degree angle. Sorry I'm not talking that much, I am concentrating. But I appreciate people that are sticking around. So I am sort of sending it a bit to make it a bit faster. I should be alright as long as my clamp doesn't shift. So I am going off camera a bit. So I've got a good steady pace going, or should I say as faster than fastest the drill can go. I'm sorry if I'm shouting, it's just automatic. So like I said, I'm just going to leave a little bit of space for me for runoff. Because obviously when you're doing your final wrap, it will shift a bit. And you want to give just a little bit of space for that to shift. So I'm nearly getting to the end of my spool now, or the end of my wire now. So just checking because I thought I'd messed up there and I haven't. So I'm nearly at the end of my wire at the end here. So I'm going to stop there. So what I'm going to do is, because I'm sorry, but I'm going to just put this right down here. So where you can see I'm right at the end here. I know you can't see it, but I'm right at the end there. So just pop that back here. So I'm going to snip my wire, leaving a little tail. Or should I say a little bit of a tail? And it's always good to have sharp thingy, because it will spool back, it will recoil back. So let's see if I can get this a bit more. So as you can see there, so you can see a bit better there, that spacing. Let's see if I can fix this out. So that's not coming through. There we are. That's a bit better. So you can sort of see that spacing there that I've got in between the wire. So when it comes to my final wrap, it'll be obviously in between them. So I'm just going to detach my wire. Now it will recoil back a bit. But what I want to be able to do also is move it. So I don't know if you can see, but it moves. And that's what you want to do for when it comes to the final wrap. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to move you back, guys, back out. There, so you can just quickly see what I'm doing. Let's get this focused. Appreciate everybody that stayed. Hope you're drinking something nice. I'm going to have another drink. So I'm going to cut my wire off here. I'm going to keep hold of it. I'm going to make sure everything's out of the way, because you do not want to snag or mess up any of the spacing in this wire now. So this is where it's delicate. So I know a few of you that are probably in have probably got CC Coils live stream last night. You know, obviously for you that use pre-made coils, obviously you see what goes into it. Not that I'm shitting on anybody that uses pre-made coils, not at all. So what I'm going to do is just temporarily, I'm just going to move this, because on my bench here, I've sort of like measured out a thingy. So what I want to do is I want to just check where my good wire starts, which is about there. So I want to measure, being very, very careful, how much good wire I've got. So I have got about 60. Again, being very, very careful, you don't stretch the thingy. So 60, so I say about 32. So what I want to do is I just want to get it to the end where my stagger is. Then I want to tell you what I am going to do, because I am forgetting here as well what I am doing. I'm just going to cut this end just here, which is attached to the thingy there. And what I'm going to do is I'm very carefully just going to move this stagger down a bit, just so it gives me a bit of room. Right, so I've got a alarm going off, and that is just to remind me to put my charger on my phone. So with that being said, so I'm just going to measure again. So I know I need about 32. I need to cut it about 32, which is about there. So I'm going to cut it there like so. So in this instance, when you're cutting it like I am, keep the wire in the same direction. So this wire was the end of that. Don't flip it over or anything, otherwise that's when you're going to have problems with your final wrap. So you want it exactly the same. So now that I've got my run off, I am now very, very carefully going to just slide this down a bit. Slide this down a bit. So what I'm creating is a little bit of room for runoff at the end. So once I've got that prepared, I'm just going to chop off the end of here, just so it's nice and flush with that. And with this end here, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to pull a little bit off, a little bit of the wrapping off, because I haven't done well here with my runoff. So I'm just going to pull a bit, so I've got a bit of runoff here. So boom. So I've got a bit of runoff there. So I've got both my wires ready to do the final stage. So I'm going to set up everything again. Like I say, be careful with your wire. You don't want to snag it, because that's when you're going to end up with problems. So thanks for the people that have stayed and been patient. So I'm just going to pop this back on. Clamp it down. This is just so it don't move. It stays nice and taut the way I want it. I'm going to open my clamp a bit more to fit both of the wires in. So I'm going to just pick up my wires. I'm going to sort of make sure that they are more or less parallel with the stagger. So I'm going to get my chuck, I'm going to get my core holder, and I'm just going to get it in the center of that. Like so. So this is good, like I say, so if you're doing like multi-core coils, this keeps it all flat, because everybody knows who's got a cordless drill or anything, when obviously you put your wires in your core, in the chuck of your drill, it's not always center, or you've got to bend your legs. So I'm just going to cut this so it is parallel. Like I say, I'm being very careful that I'm not pulling anything I shouldn't be, and making sure everything is parallel. So I'm just going to snip this to make it level. And the same with this one. I'm just going to pull off a few wraps just to help with the runoff, like so. And just this is for my swivel part. I will move my camera so you see what I do with the swivel. So let me move just here so you can see what I'm doing with my swivel. So I've got it about there. So I don't have my swivel tied up or anything. I want to make sure that this is next to each other just so it doesn't twist or anything. Like so, without pulling obviously the wrap obviously off. So what I'm going to do with this end is I'm going to stick an L in there. I'm going to pull this. I'm going to stick an L in there. I'm going to thread it through my swivel. So at this point, this is where I'm going to pull it taut with the drill or whatever it is you're using. So pull it. And then very, very carefully pop that around there like that. And if you need help with your pliers, just use your pliers like so. So that's how I want it. So here you don't want it too tight, you want it to be able to spin. So you know, like I said, it has got to have a bit of tension in it. You want just slightly less tension than you had doing the staggered. So everything's how it should be. I'm just going to make sure that's locked off a little bit better. There we are. So this is what we're with so far. So we've got our 2 wires that are staggered. Let me get that in there. Where are we? So there we are. So if I just move my chuck like that. So as you can see, wires are parallel. You've got that spacing in, which looks also parallel. And everything's straight. Swivels are moving as they should. Just have a quick vape and we'll get this wrapped. Hopefully the focus will stay in place. Obviously, so you can see what I'm doing. Cheers again, everybody. So, want to get our 36 gauge again. So, 36 gauge, using my binoculars again. So, what I'm going to try and do is get the wire just in between that wire. It's not major if you can't, it's just, it's nice. And I did have it through. So I've got it through there, as you can see. Make sure your drill is in the same spot as it was before. And all I'm going to do is I'm just going to do a few wraps just to get it going. Just to basically lock this wire in, which I have. So as you can see, those first couple of wraps went into those gaps pretty easy, as you can see there. You can see at the end there it's gone. So it's just a matter of keeping it consistent all the way through. So it's not a race. I can't do it right fast. I'm not going to do it right fast. So you got to keep an eye on, obviously, with these, it's got to go in the gaps neatly. Now, if you go wrong, don't panic. Just reverse out slowly and then slowly wrap it on. It's not like an alien where if you mess up, you just got to carry on. This is straight wire. It's not bent or anywhere. You can just reverse, take your few wraps off and then just carry on. Obviously, the wraps that you've done is going to have a bit of bending, but it should fit into those holes, those sections in between the wires nicely. So let's get this going. So I'm holding my spool a lot taut than I did when I did the staggered bit, because obviously I want it to drag into those spacings. So like I say, I'm not going too fast. There will be imperfections in it, but for somebody who's just going to be vaping it myself, I'm not that bothered. It's not going to affect the vape. Or you can always just not use that part, I suppose. So I will end up speeding up slightly, but I won't be going too fast because I'll be keeping an eye on the consistency. It will bend a bit, or not bend, twist. The wire will twist a bit. And as I get more and more impatient, I will go faster. And if I mess up, I will let you guys know and show you how to correct it if it happens with you, if you decide to do it. So I am going a bit faster. Making sure those wraps are consistent and going in between the wires, which they are so far. You can normally go a lot faster doing this. Like I say, if you mess up, it's not a big deal. You can just reverse, it's not an alien. So like I say, I am holding my spool a lot tauter than what it was when I did my staggered, just so it goes in between those wires as it should. So this seems to be laying all right, pretty much. I am going to speed up just slightly. I'm probably going off camera now, and just there. Oh. So can you see where I've messed up? Just there. So all I'm going to do is I'm just going to pull my spool a bit, put my drill in reverse, and then just slowly take those wraps off until I get to the bit that I messed up with, and that was going too fast. But like I say, it's not an alien, so it's not a big deal. Just reverse and keep going. Just reverse, undo your mistake, and then when you restart, just go slow. Just to get those bits of wire. So there is a bit of imperfection there. Not to worry. It will not affect the vape in any way. So I'm just going slow with the part that obviously messed up a bit. So there is an imperfection there. Like I say, not to worry, it won't. It shouldn't affect the vape. So what I'm just going to do now is I'm noticing a bit of sag, and I don't want sag. So I'm just going to release my what you call it, my thingy, my swivels. So I just want to pull it taut again and tighten it up, just to give it that bit of tautness there, like that. and then I'm going to carry on again. So as you can probably see on the camera, there is a few imperfections there. Do not worry, it's not going to affect your vape. And like I say, this is me using it for myself, so I'm really not that bothered. But there is, like I say, it is hard work doing it. Now, if you can see any imperfections in this, it might be because the spacing that I've snagged a little bit. Yeah, the spacing I might have snagged a little bit. But like I say, I think I'm doing better when I'm going a bit slower. So I know this bit is a bit tedious and probably a bit annoying, but like I say, all these people that you buy coils off go through this all the time, but they're making it on a bigger quantity. So I'm sort of like speeding up a bit more. So I've messed up again, not to worry. Reverse back. And I don't even think it was me that messed up there. I think the spacing just got a bit funky there. Obviously when I was touching the wire. Yeah. But we still have plenty of good wire to deal with. Like I say, this is a live stream, so it's not going to be perfect. Things are going to go wrong. Just making sure everything's moving as it should. Make sure my drill is in the right way. So as you can see, I've got some imperfections just there. That's where I snagged it. Just going to move you across here. And as you can see, there is an imperfection just there. But that's where the spacing's just gone a bit too spacey, really. Or it's just where I'm messing up big time. So I'm not going... So like I say, I'm holding it taut enough to get in between those grooves and ridges. I'm slowly increasing my speed. So still got plenty of room there for runoff. So I've started to hold my spool just a tidgy bit. No, that's not an imperfection. A tidgy bit tighter. Just so it falls into that gap a bit better. So I'm holding it a lot tighter. Thanks to the three that's still here. Thank you so much. I really do appreciate it. Appreciate the support. Appreciate all you guys. So I am going a little bit faster now. It's really about finding your groove, and no pun intended, because obviously that's what you're doing, you're putting stuff into a groove. But once you get a rhythm going and you've got your tension correctly, you can go a lot faster. Which is like what I'm doing now. I am pushing my luck a bit because I am going faster than what I would normally would. I suppose that's the fun of coil making, or the fun that I find in coil making is making mistakes, doing things wrong, learning from your mistakes. It's not going to be, you know, perfect every time. You know, even people that do it daily or do it professionally, they all make mistakes and stuff. So I'm coming to the end now, and I am just going to go that, and then I'm going to stop. So that's, I've got to the end of what I need to do. So thanks for being patient, guys. So I'm going to lock that off. I don't really need to keep a tail on it. And then I'm going to cut it like that. So guys, that's it done. So like you can see an imperfection just there. I think I did mess it up there. Yeah, just by feeling it, I did mess it up there. That's not a problem. I did not do bad all the way across here, as you can see. That is gapping just there, where I've probably stretched it. There we are. But it will not affect the vape in any way. There we are. So all this gapping is spacing, and this has only happened because I am doing a live. It won't happen if I was just here chilling, thinking, right, I want to build some coils. But yeah, that's a process of a staggered fuse collecting. So what I'll end up doing is I'll end up probably wrapping from this side. Let me take this autofocus off. There we are. So I'll probably end up wrapping from this side because it's a bit more better, and go from there. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to release this. So I am going to cut that. And I'm going to cut there. Because it's me only vaping this, I will not waste any wire that is left over. I probably will use it for, I don't know, a borrow or something. A borrow. Like, I've got loads of borrows. I only have one borrow. I'm not really a borrow person, and unless I can spend a lot of money on a decent borrow and bridge, I will be using my Pulse Mini. But the one that Lee Much posted a couple of, I think a couple of hours ago now. Yeah, a couple of hours ago now. Looked nice, that little borrow we had. But he's probably spent a lot of money on that. So I'm going to remove my swivel because I no longer need it. Get rid of that because I don't need it. And just move all this out of the way now. So thanks, guys. Appreciate it a lot. So have a vape. Give that a squonk. This is nice. This I've been using in every mode that it comes with, and I've enjoyed it. Single coil, dual coil, squonk as well. Now, the way I've got this set up is slightly different because I've got a dual coil setup, but I'm using the single coil airflow ring in this. So I've got single coil airflow. I've got two aliens in this with a 2.5mm ID, 5 wraps, right? And so it's very, very compressed in there, and everything's all nice. And I don't know if you can hear that with my microphone. It's still smooth. Does it vape better than just having it in dual coil setup? Probably not, but I wanted to try it, and it wasn't my idea actually doing it that way, so I will mention that. I was watching Steve-O CDs live, and he did mention that somebody had mentioned doing a dual coil with the single coil airflow, which is what I basically did. So I'll try and show you the best part. So as you can see, those imperfections there isn't me going wrong, it's just a spacing which I've probably pulled or snagged when I were mounting it. There we are. I'm trying to roll it actually in my hand so you can see it a bit better. There we are. Staggered fuse Clapton NI80 2636. So let's get this wrapped. So what I'm going to do is, saves me messing around with another mod. So I'm just gonna pop that out of the way. I'm gonna use this to do my building on. I will adjust my camera. I know you cannot see what I'm doing. I will adjust my camera. So let's get this on. I want to obviously turn down the wattage on my mod because I'm vaping at 100 watts. So I'm going to do a single coil. So I'm going to do a single coil for this. 3.5 mil pink. Well, he does like pink, he's like me. Punk Rock Vapor said 3.5 mils, but I think I can get a 4 mil in there. So I did sort of check with a really thick gauge wire, like 18 gauge wire, and a 4 mil should fit in there, no problem. So you've all got coiling rods. I don't need to tell you about coiling rods. I'm using obviously my Coil Master coiling jig. I've had it years. And I'm just going to pull out the 4mm rod. Right, where's my binoculars? So I'm just checking now. I know it's twisted. NI80 is a very, very soft wire. So normally if I'm doing Kenthal, then I will untwist it. But because it's NI80, I will be just wrapping it, it'll come out. There is a few imperfections there, but some of it is a spacing. I'm not too bothered because obviously I'm vaping it, but it's a live stream, so it is bound to mess up. Like I say, if it was just me on my own in my room thinking, right, I'm gonna make a coil, I wouldn't have had this problem. So I'm going to do obviously as many wraps as I can that'll fit on the deck. So I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So I'm going to go with 6 wraps. Like that. And then I'm just going to check what it's going to be like on there. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So I'm going to push it a bit And I'm gonna go 7 wraps, like so. So I've got a 7 wrap. There. I will fix it up and everything once it's on there, but that should all mount pretty nicely to put on a series setup. So I'm going to cut that off. That won't get wasted, that bit there. It will get used. So here we are. Here's my deck. So we've got some people that have rejoined. Thank you for rejoining. I understand if you've gone because you're probably not interested in the making of the coil, because you're probably not going to make it, but thanks for jumping back in, guys. So it's about 4mm. They say do it. But we'll have a look. I will... No, it was a 6mm. I'm getting it wrong. 6mm. Don't listen to me. So, got it. I'm just going to chop off. I'm using the coil cutting tool that I got it with the Bonza Pro. So, I've got my legs cut off to see how it goes with that. Just need to get a screwdriver. Now I did have a screwdriver set, but it was a cheap one and it didn't last that long. So I've had to pull out my old screwdrivers out of retirement. So for those that are worried that it might hit the chimney or the top cap, don't worry. It won't, because like I said, I've sort of checked it out with some thicker gauge wire, which I think will be round about thicker than what this is. So I'm just going to pop those legs in there just to measure it. And I was obviously wrong about the size, so I am going to go a bit shorter. I will go the 4mm that I originally said. So, dropping stuff as well. Live stream mistakes as always. So I've got that as a 4mm. 4mm. So I'm just going to pop the legs in there. That looks all right because I am going to pull it up and move it off that deck. So I'm just going to lock off my post holes. There we are. So I'm just going to obviously make sure that they're nice and tight. And then position the coil. So I'm just going to pull that up. That's definitely got a bit of wonk on there. And we know how people don't like wonk going on. So that's how I've got it positioned. Just like that. Get you a bit closer. Just like that. So once I've heated it up and everything, it should just go perfectly. So I'm gonna that can't be right. That's got to be wrong. Well, hey, now that is telling me it's too low. So there, definitely. I'm surprised that's reading it too low. So that's saying it's reading too low. Hiya Odin, thank you for joining, mate. Appreciate it. So I'm going with the theme with Punk Rock Raper and Jaff Vapes. I'm building a blotto. Now I was going to put this on a thingamajig on a series, but let's see. Now that's saying it's too low. So let me get my building mod out. So I used to use a drag 2, I think this is. Yeah, drag 2. This was a big beta mod back in the day. Anybody remember Vaping Bogan, what he did to his? I think his was the original drag. He took a hammer to it, didn't he? Maybe if I put the batteries in the correct way, it might work. So there we are. So that's on there. Let's see. I think this fires down to lower than what it's saying. So now it's telling me to check atomizer. Let's hope this pin hasn't broken, which I don't think it has. But it does need snugging just a tidgy bit more. That's definitely in there, that's definitely in there. So just building some staggered fuse Claptons. So this isn't reading. Just going to make sure that my... Who was it that said, watch out for those blottos? So this isn't reading at all. It's definitely not touching the bottom of the deck. So there is plenty of space there. Does that read? Yeah, that reads. All I need is this thing to bloody fire now. So for some reason that's telling me that that's not good. Let me go back in there. What's this telling me? That's telling me low battery. So they need charging. So these are fresh. Let's see what happens now. So I've got that on check. Zeroed out that. Right, perfect. Right, let me check this because this is telling me that this is check atomizer. So probably what I decided to do today is just gonna completely tits up. Just pull them out. Do I even build? Rookie mistake. It's because I am putting it. Oh no, I'm not. Or am I? Yes, I am. So I think what I have done is, because I put it in the opposite post, it's not reading. Because it looks... So the way I normally mount stuff is I normally do the opposite post hole, but the opposite post hole is the same post hole. So I'm putting it both in, both the legs in both negative posts. So that's why it's not reading. So rookie mistake. Do I even vape? Do I even vape, bro? So we might get somewhere now. So if you dip back in, the reason why I wasn't getting a reading is simple rookie mistake. I went and mounted it both on both negative posts. So like I just said, do I even vape, bro? So I think if I check now, then now there's a reading. So there is some wonk there, and I know you guys do not like wonk whatsoever. So I'm sorry, I'm off camera, just making sure. So that is centered now. Centered, a little bit of wonk on there. So that's where we are now. So like I say, rookie mistake. I've gone and put on both legs in both negative posts instead of one positive post. Oh boy. Like I say, do I even vape? So now I'm getting a reading, which is good, which is reading a 0.35 now. So that is good. So I'm going to obviously get this heated up. Let's see if I can get a bit of better focus on this. There we are, bit better. Well, I'm trying to get a bit better focus. Right, let's heat this up. So I'm gonna go start off at 40 watts. And so I'm going to use my binoculars, but I'm going to use a different lens. So I've got hotspots already. So I'm just going to work out all those hotspots, because there is some there. And just sometimes you have to get it going. I am going to use my coiling rod in there as well. And I am just going to shift it as well. So just take a bit of time working out those hot spots and stuff. We are getting there slowly but surely. Make sure they're still nice and tight. So that's not doing bad, but I still see in there a hot spot, and there's a hot spot. Just gonna give it a little tug, separate them. See how that works out. So that's not working out too bad. I am gonna turn it up just to make sure all the hot spots are out, which I think is about right. So I am going to bump this up, and the reason why I bump it up to do it is just to make sure that no hot spots come. So I'm at 100 watts here, and I can see straight away that there's hot spots there. Now the reason why I do this is I try and do the coil like the highest wattage I would actually vape it, just so that when I do get to that wattage, or I'm running that wattage through it, I know I'm not going to get any hot spots at that wattage. So now I'm heating this up at 150 watts, and as you can see, it's heating up nicely. There is a little hot spot there that I want to get rid of. As you can see there, you might be able to see just there when I press. Oh, has it gone? And it's gone. That is beautiful. So coil's ready. I'm just going to let that cool down. I am going to pull that off. Like that. Let it cool down. And then I'll get a final reading for it. Thanks to whoever stuck around. I appreciate it. Cheers. Nearly getting to the end of this. So that should be good. So when I get this down, so we're reading a 0.48. So a 0.48 ohms, so that should be good to put on a series. box mod that I want to put it on. So cotton that I'm using is just this temporarily because that's all I have got. My go-to is Kendo Gold or just ordinary Muji cotton. I will be getting some Maviton X off Jaff Vapes soon. I want to try that. I've probably tried every cotton out there, I think, over the 11-12 years that I have been vaping. So it'll be good to try something a bit different. So I've got my coils there. I've got some cotton. Which I think should be completely fine. Excuse me if you heard me belch. So there we are. That's perfect. Not too much tension, not too less. So I'm just going to do a little bit of housekeeping. Get that away, get that away. Just move these out of the way. I won't need that anymore. I won't need them anymore. I don't want to lose that because I will use that. I won't waste it. So, nearly getting there. So, I'm going to cut my cotton. So, I'm going to cut extra off than I probably would need because, let's face it, you can cut more cotton off, but you can't add it. So even there, I can probably cut some more off. Yes, these scissors are massive, but they're sharp and they work, which is what I want it to do. Sorry if I keep going off camera. I'm just going to trim that off there like that. So you don't really need to thin this out. You just want it fluffy as anything. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm just going to fluff it out. Just going to fluff it out like that. I'll use these. So I'm just going to take as much of the stragglers off that I can. Get that out of the way, and then I'm just going to tuck in that well. Now the way I wicked it before was perfect, and this feels about the same. Making sure that everything is not tight, but not to a point where you're like, wow. So I just thing it with my tweezers like that. And that's nice and fluffy there. So don't need to thin that out. Same with this. I'm just going to get that and tuck it in. And poke it through. And that's perfect resistance in there. It's not too packed in there. It is just perfect. There we are. So there is room in there for juice to wick. I like to stab it a bit just to keep it nice and fluffy. And that's nice and fluffy at the bottom. Done. So that is wicked and ready to go. So the juice I'm going to be using, or the juice that I have been using in this, is some Dark Star scones. So let me just put that up so I don't get a strike off YouTube, which is this stuff here. Some scones, start scones, and it's really nice in this tank. Okay, so get rid of that now. I don't need that. Right, let's juice this up. And then get it going. And then we'll go back to FaceTime and we'll talk about it a bit. So, making sure that I've turned it down, because I don't want it that hot yet. So I'm going to get some juice on there. And I want it right juiced up, because obviously the way I'm going to be running it. So I want it nicely juiced up. And this is amazing juice, guys. If you never tried Dark Star juices, they do some really nice juices. And that's nice. And that's nice. So let me take this out, attach it to the rest of my tank. One thing I didn't do, which I did want to do, which I don't think will be a problem. I'll just check. I didn't check to see if it's going to touch the chimney now. I don't think it will touch the chimney. Which it isn't. So I'm good there. I am going to just going to tighten this down a bit more just to nip it. And then I'm just going to quickly check again that there's no shorts there, which it isn't. There's no shorts there. So let's get this filled. Nice big juice filling holes. And hopefully, normally I don't fill up the tank straight away. I normally check my wicking, but I think my wicking should be bang on. So quarter turn on. Hopefully the juice doesn't dump everywhere on me, which I don't think it is. It is not flooding at all. So what am I going to put it on? Whoever's still here, any suggestions? I was going to put it on another DIY box of mine, which is set up in series, which is that purple one. It's purple, but I think it's more of a dark pink than a purple. Homemade, made it myself. Mechanical with MOSFET in series. Or shall I put it on a mech? I'll give you a couple of minutes to decide. Whoever's in chat or whoever's there. If you're the person that always joins and doesn't speak, I appreciate you coming. So thanks whoever's joined back. It's built and everything and ready to go. I was going to put it on this homemade box, but I have given thingy. Do you want me to put it on something else? This is homemade. This is set up in series, and the coil, after realizing my mistake, came out to a 0.49. Anyway, I'm going to go with this. So I need to borrow the batteries from this one temporarily. So batteries are in, ODB wraps, booby wraps. I love them, and use good batteries. I'm using some Molicel P28s, and I've also got a shut off switch there. So I'm going to pop that on there like so. I always check to make sure everything's above board before I use it. Still not flooding. There we are. We have got vapor. There we are. So I'm going to readjust my camera, go back on top, open up another beer, and we'll chill and talk a bit and vape this. So, take my binoculars off. Get everything. Please excuse the mess, but a build station is never a clean build station. So I'm going to bring you back up there. Hello. There we are. And I'm going to move you all back into this position, like so. Wide angle of my room there. And I'm just going to change it to that so you can see me. There we are. So we're back up top. Just going to readjust my chair. And let's get going. So thank you to everybody that's joined. If you dip back in or you watch the replay, I appreciate every one of you. Okay, that has come. I really do. There we are. I think that's better. You can see me. I'm all right. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to crack open my other stout. So obviously as well in... Where did I put you? And that's all I need is losing that now. What is it that Green says? Dangle clacks. A lot of dangle clacks in this one. So I'm going to use, seeing as that I'm using a blotto, I've got to use the blotto bottle opener, haven't I? Hell yes. So I'm going to crack the other one open. Same as the last one I had. It's my go-to stout. And hopefully I'll get a better pour. So here we are. Let's go for the pour. So this is about as much as I normally go for, a couple of hours. If I run over, I run over. It don't really bother me. There we are. So cheers everybody. Round two. So there we have it, guys. So the Bonza, OG Bonza, and I've got it on this homemade series box mod, MOSFET mech mod, and it does sound pretty rowdy. So 0.49, I think it was it 0.49, 0.48 ohms. Let's have a two. Can't fault the flavour on this at all. Pop that there. I'm a bit anal about my mat. My wife got me that mat. Welcome back, whoever's back with Bill. We're on this homemade series box mod, a bit similar to my blue one if you see me on social media. So single coil, 4mm staggered fuse Clapton, ohming out at about 0.5, which is perfect for a series box mod. Use high drain batteries, battery safety as always. Excuse me. Do you even vape, bro? Yes, I do. So I haven't seen any bubbles yet, but it does seem to be wicking. Was that a bubble or was it glare? Got the airflow wide open. It seems to be wicking. Oh, I am getting bubbles. You can see a little one just creeping just there. Can you see it? It's creeping just there, that little bubble just there. So it is wicking. That is delicious, absolutely delicious. So I like my retro stuff. I normally tend to go for the V1s, always the V1s if I can get it. And and the only reason, can't even talk, it's the beer. It's getting very foggy in this room, so let me crack open the window just a bit more. Can't fault that. Loads of bubbles. So it is wicking perfectly. There's loads of bubbles there. So guys, what I'm going to do is I'm going to leave it there. Thanks for the people that just jumped in and out. I really appreciate it. Love. And hopefully I'll see you next week for the next one. There will be a live every Wednesday at 8 PM and I hope to catch you then. So I'm going to leave it there. Shout out to everybody that has watched today. And hopefully I will see you guys on the next one. Lots of love. Thanks for the people that have joined. Shout out to the Replay crew. And I love you all. Thanks for making this one of the bestest live streams so far. So love guys. I love you all. And I'll see you on the next one. Peace.